Let's examine the Classification Imprecision option in the efficient cause analysis for paired ordering procedure. Now, as its name indicates, this option allows you to build in some wiggle room or imprecision into how you compute your PCC index. Now, to show you how this works, let's use these stress rating data in which the original values are scaled from 0 to 10. So this is the original data set. We've seen this in previous videos. And we're also going to analyze just the first 5 days worth of ratings, as you can see here. And also, we're going to start by looking at the Deep Structures Analyze option. So let's go to the Examine Patterns button, and let's magnify this so we can see a little more clearly what's going on. And let's take a look at the anxious ratings. So recall that the red here, that's the cause, so those are the anxiety ratings, and then the blue, that's the effect, so those are the stress ratings. Now, when you're looking at the deep structures, you're looking for instances in which there's perfect overlap between the cause and the effect, and you can see it here for day 1 and day 5. Now, if I turn off the lines, that will make that even more clear, so we can see the red boxes here. So 2 out of the 5 days, as we can see here, overlap perfectly, and that gives us a PCC index of 40%. Now suppose we wish to build in a little imprecision or wiggle room into how we're computing that PCC index. So notice in particular for days 3 and 4, there's only a 1 unit difference between the cause and the effect. And suppose that we wish to count those as correctly classified, since they're only off by 1 unit. So to do so, we go to the imprecision option here, change that to 1. And now notice how the blue boxes are turned to green, so we have 4 green boxes total. And that's 4 out of 5, so our PCC now is 80%, and the chance value changes as well. Let's suppose we want to build in even more imprecision, so we see a 2 unit difference here. So if we change this to 2, now we see the blue box turn to green, and now we have a PCC of 100%, and again the chance value changes as well. Now let's go ahead and close this out, and notice that the classification imprecision value hasn't changed here. So if I want to run the analysis with that set as 1, then I need to change it here. Again, I've got deep structures selected. Let's go ahead and take a look at the individual results, and let's select OK to run it. And notice here we get the feeling anxious PCC value of 80%, the 4 out of the 5 correct classifications, and here we see all of the other feelings and fears and their PCCs, again using the classification imprecision value of 1, as you can see reported here in the output. Now let's take a look at how the classification imprecision works when we select the Numbers Ordinal Analyze option. Now before I run the analysis or take a look at the patterns, I want to make a little change to the data set here that I think will help us to see more clearly what's going on. So I'm going to change this from 3 to 9 here. And then over for the stress ratings for days 1 and 2, I'm going to reverse that to 9 and 8. So let's go ahead and now go to the analysis. Again, I'm doing this just to help explain what's going on here. And let's change this to Numbers Ordinal. Again, we're only going to look at the first 5 days of data. And let's also change the ordinal classifications to adjacent only. And the classification imprecision will start out with a 0 for that. And let's go ahead and examine the patterns. Even though we're looking at the Numbers Ordinal option here, since the units of observation are scaled from 0 to 10, and those are the actual data, we can just go ahead and look at the patterns. And let's magnify this to see what's going on. And let's take a look at the anxiety ratings here. Now recall, when you're looking at the ordinal relations, or I've chosen that option, you're looking at the concomitant changes, or you're looking for concomitant changes between the cause and effect across the different times or occasions. So notice from day 1 to day 2, the cause increases, goes from 8 to 9 rather, while the effect decreases, it goes from 9 to 8. So that would be an incorrect classification. And then from days 2 to 3, they both decrease, that would be correct classification. Days 3 to 4, they stay the same, that would be a correct classification. And days 4 to 5, they both increase, again, a correct classification. So we see we have 3 out of 4 possible correct, and that gives us a PCC of 75%. But now again, suppose we wish to build in a little imprecision or wiggle room into the analysis. So suppose we're looking at days 1 and 2 here. We see that there's, again, an increase of 1 unit from day 1 to 2 in the cause and a decrease of 1 unit from day 1 to 2 in the effect. And so that's a total difference there of 2. Now suppose we wish to allow that difference to be counted as a correct classification. So if we change the imprecision index here to 2, then we have that correctly classified. So now we have 4 out of 4 for PCC of 100%. I'm going to bump that down to 1 and notice that it's not counted as a correct classification because the total difference in the changes here between the cause and the effect from day 1 to day 2 is 2. So to allow that amount of wiggle room or imprecision, we need to again change this to 2. And if I change it to anything higher, of course, it's still going to be counted as correctly classified. So if we close out and we wish to, let's say, use an imprecision of 2, we'll need to change that value here prior to running the analysis. And we can look at the individual results. I've got that already checked. Select OK. And here we see the 100% PCC for the feelings, for the feeling of anxiety. And we see all the other PCCs here for the individual feelings and fears. And then if we scroll up, again, we're reminded that we have set the classification imprecision option to 2.